So a very good evening to one and all present in this online meeting platform. Honorable President of Computer Society of India, Mr. R.K. Vyas, Chief Guest of this function, Professor A.K. Naik, immediate past President of Computer Society of India, Sri Mukesh Kumar, Guest of Honor, Regional Vice President, TSI Region 4, and General Manager and in charge Control and Automation, Cell CT Ranchi. Welcome address. I welcome Dr. Rajokishore Mishra, the Regional Student Coordinator, CSI Region 4, other faculty members, participants, staffs, students, and the invited media persons, and ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to host this event. This event that is 1 week online workshop on Internet of Things, challenges and solutions. So it is a 6 days, 2 hour, one and a half hours to 2 hours program. So in this event, we have six lectures per day. We have only one lecture, and this workshop will start from 5 to 6:30. So each day you have one lecture, one eminent personality from all over the India. We have invited. We have planned in that manner. So I have also shared the day by day schedule with you. You can refer to that particular schedule. So without late, I request Dr. Vajokishore Mishra, the regional student coordinator, to give his welcome address.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Panda, for your valuable introduction speech. Okay, namaste to all. This is Dr. B.K. Mishra. Namaste, sir. Thank you, sir. This is Dr. B.K. Mishra, RSC, CSA Region 4. Before going to discuss something about today's topic or our FDP topic, I would like to say, first of all, very good, heartful thanks to all, because within short time of interval, you have accepted our request, and you have we have received around 330 plus invitations to the participants, but we accommodate less number only, and the reason is to give the much more service to the each and every participant, so that it's a knowledge sharing platform. And first of all, I would like to thanks to the nature, the environment, because due to COVID-19 situation only, we are coming together again, and so people are thinking that COVID-19 is a pandemic, or they are thinking in a negative way. But honestly, I am saying that it's a best wishes for us to use our most of the capability caliber, so our caliber. So I would like to convey my thanks to our respected President sir, our RPP sir, and our IPP sir, and the entire team under the contribution of Dr. Panda for his valuable speakers, because as you know very well that we are not taking a single pie, and neither we are taking a single pie from you peoples, nor we are going to pay a single pie to the valuable speakers. It's a voluntary. I can say this program is only totally voluntary service, but I would like to say important to participants that since it is a knowledge sharing platform, 80% attendance is mandatory to all. All the participants are requested to kindly mute your audio so that others will listen properly. Yeah. Since it is a voluntary FD program, so all are requested to kindly attend the 80% attendance. Second thing, as for the AICTE requirement and other accreditation body requirements, there will be at the end of the day there will be an exam, and you have to secure minimum 60%. Then only you will be eligible for certificate. Otherwise, actually what happens most of the times, it's my previous experience that most of the time participants are saying that, sir, actually I was tried a lot, but due to network problem, it was not possible for me to attend on that particular day. That's why kindly consider my case. Sorry, please don't mind. At this moment, I can say you that there will be no excuse if you will say the such type of escaping statement if you are going to use. So it's a, you may take me negatively, but I'm requesting you all that kindly maintain the decorum. And the second thing, be attend your class. Third thing, exam is mandatory. So it would, as being an academia, being a faculty, if we will do such type of things, because what I observed sometime before also, people's faculties are participating parallelly, 2-3 FDPs, 2-3 webinars parallelly. यहाँ पर भी ऑन कर लेंगे, वहीं पे भी ऑन कर लेंगे सर्टिफिकेट. अरे हम लोग, as we know very well that nowadays the webinar certificate will not give us the API scores. Only the FTP scores only will give us the API scores. So with that thought only, we people have planned to give empower our faculty members, empower faculty members of our region 4, so that our faculty member will get motivated, and in future days, we among you people, we may get 2-3 speakers for our future upcoming activities also. So since it is a knowledge sharing platform, and all the speakers are just like you young guys, dynamic guys, so similar to that, we are also expecting this platform will give 5 to 10 speakers in future days who will come forward and who will say that, sir, we are also ready to do something for the CSI, for the nation. Then definitely we are going to organize one more program for that. And with this one more thing, I would like to pass to all that with you people support and with our authorities support, it is on the decision, no doubt. Still, I want to convey that we are going to organize one online national conference on industrial IoT, and still it is with our authorities office, and once it will be approved from our authorities office, we are going to share with you all. So number of activities are going on for the sake of the CSA region 4. As you know very well that is on the CSA region 4, there are 3 states are there. One is Odisha, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. And 2-3 years back, EPUs have cooperated me and our team a lot. That's why we were able to establish 19 student branches, and around individually around 3 to 4 chapters also, with your best supports. Similar with that expectation, I'm expecting your support in future also. And now I will not take much more time because already my time is already over. So I will hand over to Dr. Panda, please.
Thank you very much, sir, for overally telling about this particular workshop and various initiatives taken in our region. So now I request the guest of honor of this event, the Regional Vice President of Computer Society of India Region 4, Sri Mukesh Kumar sir, to address this gathering.
Good evening to all of you. Respected Sri R.K. Vyas, President, Computer Society of India, Dr. Braj Kishore Mishra, Regional Student Coordinator, Region 4, Dr. Panda, all the eminent speakers and all those who have joined today's program. It is my proud privilege to be associated with the 1-week-long workshop on Internet of Medical Things being organized by Region 4 under the leadership of Dr. Mishra and Dr. Panda, and under the able guidance of Professor Nayak and Professor Vyas, Mr. Vyas. This is, as you know, this is going to be held from 17th to 22nd of August, week long. Let me give some prelude to this, week long proceedings. IoT, as you know, Internet of Things. This is basically each and every devices which can produce digital or analog outputs that can be measured, amplified, processed, and can become a device. And if these devices can be connected over an IP, then it becomes Internet of Things. You take, for example, in your house, you have got a fridge, you have got an AC, you have got geyser, you have got CCTV. If everything, all the devices can be connected with each other, and if you can you can control it or monitor it from a remote location, then it is going to be very useful for you. Like from being at home, you can imagine that you can see all the pictures of your house. You can switch off the geyser if it is on. You can switch off the AC if it is on, and everything. Now this IoT is being implemented in a different sectors as well, and one sector which is coming forward in a big way is the medical sectors. this Internet of Medical Things is a sophisticated combination of medical devices and software applications that integrates with healthcare IT systems via wireless connectivity. Now, this IoMT, which is amalgamation of medical devices, you can imagine that if you can monitor remotely the health of a patient, their blood pressure, their glucose level, sugar level, and their cardiac condition from remote place, then it will be a wonderful thing. And not only that, you can connect many medical devices together with the IoMT. So I hope I will not take much of time because the proceedings has 1 hour for the speakers today, first day. So I hope the week-long deliberation and week-long workshop shall be highly useful for all the participants, and they will get to know many new technologies and how these technologies can be made use of IoT devices. I congratulate Dr. Mishra for organizing this week-long workshop, and wish all the best for it to be a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for addressing our participants. Now I request Honorable President Mr. R.K. Vyas, sir, to address this gathering.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Okay, audible.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening to all. I think it's my pleasure to be here amongst you all for conducting this workshop on Internet of Things for health systems. See, Computer Society of India is being conducting a lot of activities all over the country during this pandemic. As Dr. Brajo shows, I must say this pandemic has opened one more direction for all of us to be in contact with each other without physically meeting each other. And the knowledge sharing platforms like this can be easily conducted using these platforms like video webinars and workshops on video conferencing platforms like Teams, Zoom, and many more things. So these kind of things are really very helpful for us. And I must say, I must thank Brajo, Mr. Panda, and the other faculty members who will be talking in the next 6 days. The names are, I think, Dr. Sanjay Kumar Panda, Dr. Saurabh Kumar Bhol, and Sanjeet Kumar Nayak, Mukesh Singh, and Santanu Gudbrille, and Kalyan Kumar Jaina. See, these young persons, when they get together and work for the society without any monetary gain, or as Dr. Brajo says, that they'll not be charging anything, but the knowledge dissipation which they'll be doing, I think that will be highly appreciated by all. I see there are more than 78 faculty members or the students who are being connected here. Around the numbers is increasing from last 10 minutes. The numbers are increasing. So these kind of webinars and in the region 4, where we have around 3 states and more than number of institutions are there, and there are very well-known institutions like Brajo's institution, Gandhi Institute, and Gunpur, and many other institutions which we have all over the Odisha and Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Also, I have been to Raipur, I have been to Ranchi, I have been to number of institutes there, and our regional vice president, Mr. Mukesh, who has joined us recently as a regional vice president. He is really very knowledgeable, and he is really person of such a caliber. He can knit all the persons among each other, and I hope within coming days we'll be conducting more and more such knowledgeable knowledge sharing sessions. This session, when we talk about Internet of Things, obviously the talk of the day during the pandemic, restricted movement. Yesterday, if most of us have seen that Prime Minister of India, the Honorable Modi ji, says now we have got health identity, and you can go through your health identity number and have the knowledge of various things. You can contact the doctors, which doctor, which medicine, which type of investigation has to be. Everything will be recorded. And one more thing, when we say the Internet of Things, today, yesterday, I think a week before or 15 days before, when we were talking about Internet using robotics, and robotics in the healthcare we were talking about. So robots, see, doctors, nurses, they are also being affected, and in some cases, in one of the hospital, around 50% of staff of an hospital who are caring for the COVID, they were all infected, and they were to be quarantined. In those type of movement, if we have the network things, we have got the devices, knowledgeable devices with the sensors there, we can easily get the information directly sitting on the tables, robots moving around, giving all types of facilities and all these things. And this word, when we say I think Brajo and Mr. Panda in coordination with our father fully figure, or my big brother, Professor A.K. Nayak, they have really planned very good sessions for next 6 days, Internet of Health, that is the talk of the day. With these words, I am really thankful to Brojo and Mr. Panda and other faculty members and all the participants who will be taking this session. And one thing I liked that Brojo told in the morning, that discipline has to be maintained. See, we faculty members or we the researchers, we are basically the young researchers and the young faculty members. They are the future of the country. And the future lies in the discipline. So we have to be attendance, it should be there. Brojo says 80%, I should say everyone should attend. 1 hour a day is not much. 100% attendance should be there. And at the end of this, obviously, you're capturing a knowledge for 6 days and half an hour or 1 hour small examination so that you can know how much you have gathered. See, I hear a lot of things, but I may forget a lot of things. So we have to gather those knowledge, share those knowledge and implement those things. And as Brojo already says, I'll maybe seeing that few of the persons who are attending this, they are giving some lectures on the latest topic, the IT and the various kind of topics which we'll talk about on various platforms. And these platforms really give us an opportunity to meet again and again during this pandemic, where we cannot physically meet each other, but obviously we'll meet each other through the networking, through the various kind of online platforms, and we'll be blessed with the knowledge sharing sessions like this. Thank you very much and welcome to you all. Thank you. Nayak sir, namaskar.
Namaskar, Chote bhai.
Namaskar.
How are you?
I'm good.
Sir, namaskar. Sir, namaskar, Brojo.
Brojo, namaskar. Sanjay, namaskar.
Thank you
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your encouragement to the participant to start research in this particular area, that is Internet of Medical Things. So now I request chief guest of this this workshop, the immediate past president, Professor A.K. Nayak, to address the gathering.
Thank you very much. The dynamic and vibrant president of Computer Society of India, my beloved younger brother, Mr. R.K. Vyas, the regional vice president of Computer Society of India for the region 4, comprising of the state of Odisha, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh, Mr. Mukesh Kumarji, the regional state student coordinator, and always had been very vibrant and dynamic under the platform of the Computer Society of India, Dr. Braj Kishore Mishra ji, and the esteemed coordinator of today's program, very dynamic and vibrant young professor, Mr. Dr. Sanjay Kumar Panda ji, and all the esteemed and learned speakers who will be conducting this workshop for 5 days, 1 week. And with my all regards and all best wishes, and the participants of this program, 1 week workshop. First of all, I congratulate all of you for participating and coordinating and organizing such kinds of 1 day, 1 week workshop in the region 4. And this tempo will be definitely continuing. What happened once upon a time, region 4 was quite active and vibrant, and we had very high speed of growth and exponential growth so far the student chapters and all these things are concerned. But for the time being, since last 1 to 2 years, it became somehow slower. That is why we have been again recharged by a forming a core group under the leadership of our president, Mr. R.K. Vyas, and myself, and the regional vice president Mukesh and Brajo. We have taken the decision that in every month we must have at least 4 programs under the region 4. 4 programs at least, but to average weekly ones. There is no doubt, nothing to be told so far as the capability of Brajo is concerned. I know him very well when he took the charge of the regional student coordinator. At that time, only 6 student branches had been there in the region 4. But within a year, he made it to 18 student branches. Not only that, he helped us to open the student branch at the remotest part of the country, in the northeastern part of the country, that is at Meghalaya. The NIT Shillong, we opened the student branch. It is the initiation of Brajo. I don't have any doubt so far as the capability of Brajo is concerned, and with the co-relationship and coordination with our regional vice president Mukesh Kumarji, with a very able and dynamic technocrat, and working the capacity of the general manager in the Steel Authority of India Limited. So we'll be definitely achieve the scale of excellence in the future days to come in the region 4. So far the topic that has been chosen for one with workshop, I feel it is quite relevant and very planned way it has been framed, and it has been chalked out so that the workshop is the Internet of Medical Things. We are having the number of workshops on the Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, and so on, smart computing and all these things, all related field. But organizing a workshop of 1 week duration on the theme Internet of Medical Things is really unique and amazing, and which is the requirement. And particularly in this pandemic period, as my younger brother president told, and there is the importance of these kinds of topics are being more, where that means the medical practices have to be provided, medical services have to be provided to the peoples, not only the peoples which are previously we are having the medical services to the peoples who are connected, but now we'll have to explore all the possibility how this Internet of Medical Things can be able and capable to provide the health services to the peoples who are not connected, who are at the countryside, who are at the remotest side, and in what way it can help that in the rural health scheme as well as the rural health mission that is to be explored within this workshop. And another thing, so far the Internet of Things is concerned, but this is the time I must have to tell, this is a time of integration of the technologies, because we have seen in the current days, since last 5 to 10 years, the upward mobility so far as the computing technologies are concerned, so far as the latest trends of the computing are concerned, we have passed through many kinds of things, and whatever the thing. Once upon a time, we are talking of the networking, that all these things, high-speed networking. We have seen there are a lot of technologies like embedded technologies, like quantum computing, like cloud computing, like smart computing, like sensor computing, like lot of things are like social computing, green computing, all these things. Why I am telling all these things? Because now we have arrived in a point where the integration of the technologies are required for the better application for the mankind. As for example, you consider when you are talking of the IoT, IoT is not a simple one. It is the integration of many technologies, and can tell artificial intelligence. There is the requirement of the sensor technology and smart computing. There is the requirement of the networking and communication technology. There are requirement of many of the allied technologies that should be there integration in the IoT. And the thing is that when we are talking of the IoT, the extended form is IoE, but we are talking of that is the Internet of Medical of Things. But one thing I must have to concern, so far as the medicals of things are called medical expert system, do you know, artificial intelligence is not very new concept. It came incepted in 1956 at the time of the introduction of the second generation computer. And the medical expert system is the first artificial intelligence project which has been launched in the United States of America by comprising the giant's brain and capability, analytical capabilities and the prescription of different medicines of the 1,000 doctors. Imagine then this artificial intelligence has been raised its domain into different fields, and many of the things have been included. And today we are taking that it is the base, it is the cause, and others are the applications. It is we can take artificial intelligence is the cause, and other applications are the effect. Artificial intelligence might be the source, other applications might be the object. You tell whether it is a business intelligence, whether it is the machine learning, what is it is the computational intelligence, whether it's emotional intelligence, all are some of the form of the artificial intelligence. And today we are starting from the medical expert system. Today, each and every aspects of the medical sciences are being dealt with the integration of the information technology and computing technologies. Whatever you start from a simply medical diagnostic to the operations, that the robot is also they're providing the help to the doctors, everywhere it is coming. And what to this IoT concept? When we are talking of after the development of IoT, now we are talking of the industry 4.0. That means the machine will communicate with the machine, and in IoE, machine will communicate with the man, and man will communicate with the machine. And we do visualize as a computer scientist and a computer professional, the IoE power will be enhanced and enlarged. One day, the man will communicate with the animals, animals will communicate with the animals, and the animals will communicate with the animals. Anybody, the communication will be so fast. And another thing is that what happened, how these technologies came when we were talking of the industry 1.0. At that time, the industry was simply managed by the application of the steam energy. Then we came to the industry 2.0, that is the productivity and efficiency has been enhanced by the electrical energy. Industry 3.0, we have used the ICT application in the industrial productivity and efficiency. But when we are talking of the industry 4.0, so that is the completely of this basic completely artificial intelligence. And when actually the industry 4.0 can be defined by the fusion of the three technologies. Industry 4.0 is the fusion of the physical devices, digital devices, as well as the biological devices. So I am telling like this, industry 4.0 will not be limited only to be applied in the heavy industries or the small scale industry or the medium scale industry. Rather, it will expand its hold to the bio industry, to the biomedical industries and all these industries. That is why I have told the fusion of three kinds of devices: physical devices, digital devices, as well as the medical devices, biological devices. That is the real optimal format of the that is the industry 4.0. In that respect, when we are talking of the Internet of Things, definitely the fusion of the biological devices with the digital devices as well as the physical devices is the most important factor and most important feature so far as the medical informatics is concerned. And definitely this medical informatics is the need of the hour, and definitely our researchers and scientists will take forward to this concept and to have the enhancement as well as the upward mobility of this medical intelligence. And I do believe in these 5 days workshop, lot of things of the developmental aspects of the medical informatics, as well as the different focus points on the research and the latest research and development of the medical informatics, and as well as with this medical informatics, how the technologies like the emotional intelligence, which is being considered as one of the most latest technology integrated with the signal processing, can be integrated so that it can have the enhancement of this medical, that medical things or the medical intelligence will be enhanced in a better manner. With this, I do hope, let us discuss the researchers, let us the developers, let us all the people who will be associated with the medical informatics should come forward and to give the latest inputs in this program. And particularly, I can tell that the participants who are participating in this program, because what you will be listening within 5 days, so you see that will be much beneficial for you, because the speakers are quite learned speakers. They are having definitely a better authority than the participants, so that they can provide you some of the better knowledge. And the thing is that what you are listening in this 5-day workshop, I will request you, don't forget that and try to make it practice in your real life, in your real factor. Because the thing is that, this thing is that when you tell having one concept, when you read, you can, when you listen, you can forget. When you read, then you can understand. And when you practice, then you can realize. So try to practice in your life and try to bring this medical informatics in such a way, and the speaker should impart their training in such a way, the participants should carry the knowledge, because as we tell the great stanza of Bhagavad Gita, Jajada charati shrestha tattada itare dana सहजत प्रमाण कुरुते दना तदन वर्तते। अर्थात जो महतजन बोलते हैं, जो गुरुदेव बोलते हैं, जो ट्रेनर बोलते हैं, हम आप इसको फॉलो करते हैं, वो जो प्रमाण करते हैं हम इसको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं। दिस interaction should go in that manner. The participants should take when they will complete the course, they should take something from this workshop. Then that will be the real satisfaction of the purpose of this workshop. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this workshop. As well as I do believe this workshop will be most success and the workshop is formally inaugurated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, yes.
Thank you, Naik sir. Thank you, sir. Namaste. And we are very much grateful to you and other our Vyas sir and Mukesh sir. Now over to our coordinator of this entire workshop, who has well planned it under the plan of our Dr. Panda only for vote of thanks. Dr. Panda, please.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. It is my privilege to give the vote of thanks for this 1 week online workshop on Internet of Medical Things, Challenges and Solution. So first of all, I would like to thank Honorable President of Computer Society of India, Mr. R.K. Vyas sir, for giving his valuable time and give some time on his busy schedule to inaugurate this event. And I would like to thank the chief guest of this function, the immediate past president, Professor A.K. Naik sir, to give his valuable time. I also like to thank Sri Mukesh Kumar sir, the regional vice president, and Dr. Brajokishore Mishra sir, regional student coordinators, to give his valuable time and be there in the inaugural function. I also would like to thank all the speakers of this program, Dr. Munesh Singh from IIIT DN Kanchipuram, and Mr. Kalyan Kumar Janna, Dr. Saurabh Kumar Bhoi from Prada Maharaj Engineering College, Barampur, Dr. Sanjit Kumar Naik from Bennett University, New Delhi, Dr. Sandaratna Godbole from Assistant Professor, NIT Warangal, and all the participants to join this program. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all. Stay safe, and within 5 minutes we will start our first session. Thank you very
Panda
much.
Sir.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Panda sir. Panda sir, all the participants, yes sir, 1 minute sir. All the participants are requested to kindly off on your video for a selfie, and within 1 minute we are going to take the selfie, so that after 2 to 3 minutes we will resume with the technical session. Or kindly on your video. संजय पंडा सर आपन सेपटे गोटे नै जिवे म एपटे गोटे नै जिवे 2-3 दिन नै जिवो
Yeah, I'm taking sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I think Naik sir has left.
शायद कोई आए सर इसलिए.
अच्छा.
Okay, from my side also over.
I
have called.
Just a minute, sir. Just a minute.
Yeah, please.
Let me put on to mode.
नाइक सर भी आ गए हमारा.
Good. चलिए.
We'll take another one.
क्या
नाइक सर सेल्फी का मतलब ही नहीं रहता.
नहीं मैं थोड़ा कॉलिंग बेल बजा, थोड़ा डिस्टर्ब हो गया.
अब बड़े भाई नहीं रहेंगे तो कैसे होगा सर?
बिना गुरुजी का चैनल लोग का कुछ काम नहीं है.
अरे नहीं है कोई बात, मेरा छोटा भाई है ना.
नहीं सर, बड़े भाई का डायरेक्शन तो चाहिए ना सर.
Sir, done from my side.
Yeah, thank you sir.
क्या ब्रदो, तू दाढ़ी रखे क्या? दाढ़ी क्यों रख दी?
बोलूंगा. I will give you a call in of time.
लॉकडाउन पीरियड में मोदी ने दाढ़ी रखे देखे हो बाबा बन गए, तुम क्यों दाढ़ी रखे?
ओके सर, मैं आपको कॉल करता हूँ. ओके, थैंक यू सर.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you Mukesh ji. Thank you Mr. Panda.
दाढ़ी रखते हैं इसलिए.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
चलो.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Over to Panda sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Let us start the first session. We are already 7 minutes late. So our first speaker is Dr. Munesh Singh. So Dr. Munesh Singh received the PhD degree in Computer Science and Engineering from National Institute of Technology, Rourkela, India in 2017. He has industrial experience of 1 year with Honeywell Technology Solution Lab, Bangalore, India. He is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science Engineering at Indian Institute of Information Technology, Design Manufacturing, IIIT DM, Kanchipuram. So it is one of the 5 IIITs established by fully operated by Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. He also served IIIT DM Kurnool as a visiting faculty in the year of 2018 and 19. He has published so many research papers and chaired many sessions in many international journals and conferences. And his research interests include IoT, wireless sensor network, connected cars, cloud computing, and big data analytics. He has membership in various societies as well. So, with this small introduction, I will request Dr. Munesh Singh to start the first technical session. Dr. Munesh, please.
Yes. So, first of all, I would like to thank for giving my brief intro by Sanjay Kumar Panda sir. And in today's session, we will be going to discuss about the Internet of Things for healthcare. What are the different challenges and opportunities? But before I start, let me give my thanks to all the members of CSI for conducting such a webinar series for a week. And in this week of session, we will be learning various concepts related to the healthcare, and also we find out some of the research opportunities, how we can deal with those problems that is existed in today's Internet of Things, and in future how we can get those things in proper. So I'll start by presenting my PPT. So is it visible to all?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So my agenda of today's discussion on IoT in healthcare, what are the technological challenges and opportunities? So we will be basically seeing different aspects of Internet of Things and how we can deal with such challenges and take those challenges as a research opportunities to enable this medical of things using IoT. So before I'll give you all the challenges and opportunities, let me give you an idea about how this IoT of healthcare can be envisioned. Because emerging trend in various technologies like cloud computing, mobile applications, and wearable device facilitate IoT role for making healthcare a smart and personalized device. So if you can see, the cloud computing has given an immense power of computations or different type of services it has hosted. So either you can go with the storage as a service, computational services, platform as a services. So there are numerous type of services nowadays are available, and cloud will allow you to pay per use. So that is what the beauty of this cloud computing. If you have a requirement of limited computations, you can go with the cloud computing, where you can purchase a small platform which can satisfy your need. Or even if you have a scalable requirement, you can even configure that through cloud computing platforms. Like another technology which brings these kind of innovation for healthcare, like mobile applications. So nowadays smartphones are capable enough. They have a multi-sensor attributes, and they can also connect it with the internet world. So they can also contribute for sensing or monitoring certain activities. So nowadays, a lot of research is going towards the mobile application, where the mobile inbuilt camera or mobile inbuilt sensors can be used to access the health conditions of the person. Okay, so likewise, you have seen the Fitbit watches are available. Now, mobiles also coming with different types of medical sensors. So if you can see the latest smartphones, they have a iris scanner, they have a camera with various kind of pixels. So they can even scan your face, and they can say these are the health issues make occur. So that kind of predictable systems are implementing with the mobile applications. So this is what the one more advancement. And after that, the wearable devices came into the picture. So earlier we were having the embedded devices, but they are not that much capable. They have only the small embedded board, which can have an integration of some sensors. And those sensors also very bulkier and heavier that we cannot use it for uh, portability purposes. So wearable devices nowadays are available like EMG sensors, ECG sensors, temperature sensors. So there are lot many varieties of sensors are also available, which you can be easily attached with your body. So if you can see this particular figure, here you can see ECG sensor we have attached, motion sensor we have attached, and we are creating a body area sensor network. So this body area sensor network will have a different types of devices, and these devices are medical devices in terms of IoT for healthcare sector. If you are talking about industrial 4.0, then there may be a different actuators, different sensors. So the base platform you can implement with an IoT, but the sensor side, the application can change. Like a smart healthcare system, if we imagine, then we have a wearable sensors. If we can imagine a smart transportation system, then we have a different kind of sensors. So likewise, the variations of different applications can have a different type of sensors, but the base architecture can be similar for different other platforms or different other applications, either a small change or a big change that you can even incorporate based on the application requirements. So these are the few advancement in technology enables the IoT in healthcare, and now we are discussing about the medical of things. So now even if you can see various medical devices, sensor, diagnostic imaging devices, they can also have a communication capabilities. They can either communicate through Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or a different other media interfaces through which they can also deliver their information to the remote places. Either they are not a wearable devices, if they are bulkier devices like MRI machines, okay, CT scan machines, they can also have nowadays interface of communications. So altogether, if these devices can contribute and connect it to the informational network, that is nothing but internet, we can achieve the medical of things applications. Okay. So with this, next we have a IoT healthcare network. So whenever we try to implement any IoT healthcare infrastructures, or even this is a one application, there are many more IoT smart applications. We will be basically having a different layers. So different layers, like we have a devices. So device perspective, we will be discussing about the embedded sensors, different types of controllers, what are their interfacings are available, what are their communication standards are there, and how we can deal with these many interoperable different device interfaces. Okay, so there are different kind of challenges comes. So in these device challenges, we will be discussing about physical design challenges, and then we have a data processing challenges, data aggregations. So whenever we have a different varieties of devices in a network, or your home appliances or medical, if we are specifically talking about medical devices, they can have a different interfaces. Like a Bluetooth will be a one interface, Wi-Fi can be a one interface, RFID can be a one interface, NFC can be a one interface. So these are the communication interfaces. When these many devices will have a different protocol of communications, they may generate different type of frame formats, different types of data speeds. So there are so many challenges will come in terms of data processing. If data is of that much variety, then it comes under the big data analytics. Okay, because there are varieties of data, varieties, speed of the data. Likewise, different variations are there in the formats, that all together creates a problem for sending the data over the network. And a device who can operate at a specific frame format, then we have to look around the formatting of these data into a one specific format. So for those things, device and data aggregation, they may basically comes in an area of edge computing. And we are also discussing about what is edge computing, how we can enable the IoT device itself. They can sense the parameters and then analyze the parameters there itself, so that the latency issues may not come. So that thing I'll discuss it later on. Then we have a data storage challenges. So data storage challenges basically comes at the fog nodes, or even at the cloud side. So if you have a different devices that you have configured at the bottommost layer, and data is coming and you have aggregated the data in a specific format, and then you are bringing it to the data storage requirements. So either you can purchase a cloud space, there you can store the data. But if we are talking about the global medical of things, like globally, if we can interconnect all the devices together of the global healthcare systems can also participate to provide their health services from remote locations. Like Americans will have some specific medical equipment which India cannot purchase it, but Indian people can take the health services from the US. So in such cases, how we can manage that much huge data storage? So either we can have a cloud storage, there we can run a big data analytics platform, or we can discuss about the different network file systems, how we can replicate the data in the networks. So all such issues will come into the data storage part. And data storage and data analysis, they both basically comes at the logical design perspective, how we can use certain protocol for sending our data over the cloud, and how we can organize the data at the cloud, so that we can effectively fetch the data from the data storage and analyze it. So logical design also discuss about the requirements. So whenever you have a plan to build a smart medical system, there are various requirements you have. Either you have to represent some data in some specific format which can user can also understand and medical practitioner can also understand. So all such issues will come under the logical design. So specifically, I'll be discussing more on the physical design challenges and network design challenges. Logical design challenges basically differ from the application to application. Okay. Okay, so let's begin with the IoT physical device challenges. So physical device challenges, what are the challenges are there? There are different types of wearable sensors for medical sensors. If you can see this particular figure, we have a EMG sensor, ECG sensors, and likewise heart ECG or BP sensors. So many wearable devices are there which we can attach at our body, and we can feed our data to the controller. Okay, so the core part of an IoT or any cyber physical system, we will be having an embedded system perspectives. So we need to understand how these sensors can communicate with the controller. So sensors can have a different varieties, like they may be a digital sensors or they may be analog sensors. So the way of delivering the data to the controller, they may have a different communication ports also. So in terms of embedded system, GPIO ports are there. They may be of UART communication port, SPI port, or they may be I2C communication port. So there are different options are there at the controller through which you can attach these wearable devices. And each these GPIO port has a different specifications. They may have a different connections, means how many wires they can use for communicating with the device. Like for SPI communication, we need 4 wires. I2C communication, we can carry it over the 2 wires. So all such interfaces will take a different specifications. So whenever you generate the device data from these many different sensors and actuators, they all come together at the controller. Now controller has a challenge to unified all the data in one format, and then they can send it over the network. Okay. So this is what the embedded prospective challenges which you need to address at the controller itself. So there is no other options you have, so that you can convert the data totally in digital. Some sensors are in analog nature. Then you have to decide how much I should keep my analog to digital conversion ADC. So ADC, if you are taking a high bit ADC, then you can recover the signal easily with great accuracy. So all such perspective covers in the embedded system. Okay. Now your embedded controller board also have a communication interfaces. So communication interfaces can be a Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Bluetooth, infrared, NFC, RFID, LTE, GPRS, USB, RS-232, or they are even more than that. Many standard way of communications. So in such cases, how you can deliver your data? When you have these many interfaces, then you have these many challenges like constrained data processing method that comes at the controller itself. And when you have a constrained data processing, then what are the different constraints are there and how we can deal with all such constraints. Then we need to identify a unique identity. So each device in a network should have some kind of IP address or some kind of unique identity through which we can have the uh, monitor it from the remote locations, or even we can have these identity for communication between machine to machine. So such unique identity also must. That is also a one of the great challenge. Dynamic and self-adaptive. So we are imagining about the smart world and smart technologies or smart applications. So dynamic key and self-adaptability is must. And dynamic and self-adaptability is what? How frequently your device can take certain decisions. Dynamic means in case of camera, dynamic, it can change its mode of operations. In daylight it can operate with different. In dark night it switch on its infrared LEDs to visualize the darkening environment. Likewise self adapting, how he can switch its pixel mode. Like presently it is operating in VGA mode because nobody is going on the road, but immediately one person came, then it self adapted and changed its resolution from VGA to some high definition mode or whichever is suitable. Like self configuring, how device can frequently update its informations and how it can modify its informations or recalibrating the sensors parameters, fault diagnosis. So many other things will come under the self configuring. Interoperability. So this is a main requirement for any IoT of things. Either it is a medical or a healthcare, interoperability is must, because we are discussing about things, and things can come home appliances, any devices. They may have some interface for communications. Then how we can integrate such a diverse kind of devices with informational network? So for that we also have to look around what is interoperability issues. Then integrated into the informational network. So this is another important challenge because some devices are non-IP based communication interface. So Bluetooth, they don't have any IP address information. Infrared communication, they don't have any IP address things. Like Zigbee also have no IP based interface because these devices operates at the link layer. So link layer will not have any logical addressing. They only have a physical addressing. So when you have such kind of devices in a network, then how you can deal with those device interfacing with informational networks? So let's begin with the constrained data processing methods. What are the challenges at present we are facing? Like the process of converting raw data using a medium like manual or automatic tool into a meaningful output information. So constrained data processing is basically discussing about if there are large varieties of devices in a network, then each devices has a different set of protocol for communications. From the embedded perspective, you have seen a different ports are there. So data is coming from different port with different formats. Then after that you are unified all the data in one format. Then you have other challenges for the network side, how we can deal with the different type of bandwidth requirements. whenever we have a very less bandwidth, how we can aggregate the data into a small piece of data, how effectively your device can operate in the network. That is what the requirement. So constraint data processing method included conversion. So data in another format. So one format to another format. This is one requirement. Then validation. Then validation, it means then whatever the sensors data a controller is received, whether the data is clean, correct, or useful. So that insecurity is also needs to be maintained by the IoT device. Then sorting. So some kind of arranging the data in different orders is also essential. And then aggregations, combining multiple pieces of data. So aggregation is most important one because we have a network bandwidth limitation problems. If we are deploying this IoT of things at the remote locations, like in villages, there we don't have the bandwidth, proper bandwidth. I must say there are bandwidth issues. Then how we can deal with such issues? For that, what kind of mechanism we should develop, which will minimize the or adapt based on the bandwidth. Okay, if bandwidth is more, then you can send the data faster. If bandwidth is less, then it can reduce the data. Then analysis. So if we are talking about the edge computing things, then we have some delay issues. Like from edge node, if you are generating some data, it goes to the fog node, then it goes to the cloud node. Then up to the cloud node, once it reaches, their analysis will start, and then it is giving the results to the medical service provider or a patient. So that much delay, if it is there in between these much computations, then the patient may die. We have to look around some methods which can minimize the delay. So researchers nowadays are focusing more on edge computing because edge are the nodes that is distributed in the lower part of the IoT architecture, and how we can combinedly use these constraint devices. Constraint devices basically they have a low power, low communication capabilities, processing and storage capabilities. When these many devices in collaboration use for for doing some task, then the edge computing can emerge. Okay, reporting. So sometimes you also have to generate some kind of reporting of the data. If you have collectively data and you are analyzing at the edge node itself, then how an edge node itself can summarize the data so that medical professional can also understand and patient can also understand this is what my BP, this is what my blood sugar and other components. Presentation is also essential thing because we have to present the data in effective manner. So for that, we must have some kind of local servers which may operate even at the edge devices, or it may operate at fog devices or cloud devices. So these servers you can also enable at the each point of the network device, so that if user wanted to see his own data, so he can directly on his mobile or any device through which he can log the data and he can visualize the data from that device itself. Need not to go to the cloud and then he can browse it and then see. So such thing also we can enable. Unique identity. So another important aspect that we have to find out some mechanism to provide the unique identity. At present, we are using IPv version 4, which can accommodate less number of users. At present situation, we are needing more number of IP address to uniquely identify the devices. And for that, we are using a different subnet masking concepts or different concepts. But that is even not enough. So for that, we have introduced IPv version 6, which can support 128 bits. So we can accommodate more number of users at the internet. And by 2050, you will be getting around 50 billion devices in the network. So it may be your home appliances or any devices. So that is what the target of the IoT market. And presently people are looking towards that. So unique identity is must. And there are also some challenges are there. As I mentioned that the personal area network devices which operates at the link layer, they are basically Bluetooth devices, NFC, RFID. Okay, all the devices which operates at the link layer, they have their identity, or either you can provide some identity to those devices, because Zigbee may have some identity which you can also change it. But when such diverse kind of devices are there in the network, like in your home appliances, you imagine a Bluetooth speaker is there, okay, Alexa is there, so many different devices are there with a local area, personal area network devices, or I must say these devices can work in the link layer domain only. So these devices also called as a non-IP based devices. They can only form a sensor networks, okay, but they are unable to integrate with the informational network. So whenever these many different interface devices are there, we need a gateway. So we can gather the data from these devices and accommodate at the gateway. So gateway will assign one IP and send it over the network. So gateway will maintain the remote connectivity of these devices, and gateway will assign the unique identity to these devices which operates in the network with non IP. Okay, so these are the another challenge which needs to be addressed properly, so that each and every device can be integrated in the informational network. Okay. Another challenge is a dynamic and self-adapting. So if we are discussing about the smart things, and dynamic and self-adapting is also essential if you are operating your medical of things in the remote areas, like in villages where the connectivity issues are there. There you can create your network with a non-IP based devices. Okay, if there is no cellular communication capabilities, or there is no internet availability, in such cases you can configure a wireless sensor network, and by doing the multi-hop communications, you can transfer your data to the nearest gateway where the internet availability is there. So likewise also you can manage some of your dynamic environment, and dynamic and self-adapting mostly come in that area, but it also applicable for the internet enabled devices. So what is basically dynamic? I have even given the example. Dynamic means surveillance camera can adapt their modes based on the whether it is day or night. So this is one example I've given for the camera, but you can imagine for a device which operates on battery. Okay, so device itself can take some decisions to switch off they can switch off themselves, or either they can put themselves in sleep mode and active mode, through which they can be active in the network for longer period of time. Likewise, sometimes you have aggregated the data from the different sensors, and now your bandwidth is coming only 10 Mbps, but earlier it was coming 100 Mbps. So your node itself dynamically adapt the bandwidth requirement, and then it can send the data. Or even if it is there, if the IoT network has a congestions, then also it can take certain decisions. Okay, so all such dynamic things you can bring it in the IoT devices. Self-adapting, as I mentioned, the battery if it goes down, then the node can switch on or switch off according to their requirements. So under this different types of challenges are there, like for energy management, how you can make the IoT device which can satisfy the longer network lifetime with a lower battery or a lower backup of energy. Communications also have a problem. Like in this, we have a topology issues. If we are talking about the wireless sensor networks, there we need to reconfigure the network, or we have to uh, find out the optimal routing paths. So many other issues comes with the communications. Bandwidth, as I mentioned, whenever you have a bandwidth issues, how you can store your data or forward your data, such decisions you can take it, or even you can segment your data in smaller pieces and then you send it over the network. So all such things come under the bandwidth. Medium access, so how you can switch the mediums. Like if your IoT device is capable enough with wired communication as well as Wi-Fi communications. So let's say Wi-Fi communication is not active, then wired communication is active, through which it can also send the data. So there may be a multiple different communication interfaces on an IoT devices, and when certain challenges comes, how these devices can switch their modes. So that comes under dynamic and self-adaptability. Self-configurable. So self-configurability also has a various challenges, because it comes under the like self-isolation of the devices or fault diagnosis of the devices, sensor recalibration, self-isolations. So self-calibration, self-configuration means you have to look around the neighboring devices for certain resources. Like if you are talking about edge computing, I'm generating more data, or most of the data is relayed through me. Then how I can minimize my load? So load balancing things also you can enable it at the edge node itself. So that if you are talking about wireless sensor network, there are varieties of nodes. Like you can have a sensing node, you have a coordinator nodes, you have a routing nodes. So how you can manage your networks with these many devices? Okay, that is the case when the non-IP based network is there. But if it is IP based network, then also these issues may come. The sensors are there, which is generating some data, and you have to identify the whether the data is correct or not. So for that, what should you do? For that, you have to check some testing mechanisms, like sensors checking. You can do it by modeling some sensor packages, testing packages, or you can create some test parameters through which you can periodically check whether the sensor is operating perfectly or not. Likewise, you can perform some operations, or if some node in the network uh, operating like a coordinator node, so whatever traffic is coming from different IoT devices, and it is handling all the traffic. But when this particular node die in the network and all the traffic still is coming to these devices, how this device can coordinate or it can self isolate from the network? If it is die in the network, then that is another thing. But if it is active in the network and not forwarding your packets, then also it may come under the privacy issue or attack issues, because device may be hijacked by some other intruder in the network. Many more issues can come. Or sometimes we need to configure the device with a different parameters from the remote locations. I must say that after 1 year my sensors are not producing the right results. They need some calibration. So I can choose some method through which I can uh, reload the firmware of this IoT device so that it can start acting perfectly. So self-configuration means how device can smartly take certain decisions so that it can avoid some of the issues in the network related to privacy, related to data loss, related to network management or other issues. Okay. Then interoperability. So as I mentioned earlier, also interoperability is the biggest challenge in IoT, because there are varieties of devices with varieties of interface for communication. And interoperability is not just talked about the communication issues. They may be also infrastructures. Okay. So device side, we have the issues with the capabilities, communication protocol issues. If different communication protocols we are using, like Bluetooth, NFC, then they have different data formats. How we can unify all together and create one format? That is one. The issue comes at the physical design perspective at device level. Then synthetic issues, data format, as I mentioned, schema, interfaces issues, semantics, data model, information model, ontology. So how you can represent your data smartly. Platform issues like operating system. I am operating at Linux, some are operating at the Windows. some are operating at the Macintosh. So there are different types of issues may come because of different flavors of operating system, and different flavor of data structure you have used for managing your data. I'm using MySQL, some are using SQLite, some of them using NoSQL. So there are different kind of challenges may come. And in one particular word, if I explain IoT, what are the basic requirements that we have to manage? Like interoperability is one issue, like self-adaptability, dynamic and reliability. In all such cases, we basically need a gateway. So gateway is only the solution for all such challenges, and the smart gateways are basically needed for such scenarios where the data conversion issues are there, where communication issues are there, where interoperability issues are there. So everywhere, wherever you have certain issues and you cannot manage at the constraint device, then you can take the decision from the gateway. Okay, so that is what the all algorithm at the gateway line. Then integrated to informational networks. So there are so many different devices in the network. Some devices basically are non-IP based, some devices are IP based. So there are some challenges how we can integrate all together to an informational network. If device is not capable enough, we can have a gateway which can provide the unique identity to the non-IP based devices, and he can coordinate the data relay for these non-IP devices into the internet. And if anybody interested to talk these remote devices, then gateway will manage all such requirements. So this is what also another important challenge, and it comes because of different device interfaces, different device communications, data formats. Okay, so all such challenges will come under this. So with this, we have completed our physical design challenges of IoT. Network design of an IoT will have a separate type of issues and challenges, which basically more common also. Earlier, we have discussed about wireless sensors perspective, or even in the computer network perspective. These challenges are also applicable in IoT. So why these challenges are more prior? Because prediction have ranged from 50 billion by 2020 to 1 trillion by 2025. So this is what is prediction. But 2050, they are targeting up to 50 billion or 1 trillion devices to be connected with internet. When this is the global network of devices or things, and the devices can communicate to each other and perform some task, then how you can manage those many devices in the network? They have a certain network related issues which we need to address properly. So IoT device traffic differs significantly in nature and thus has a unique network requirements. So what are the network requirements we have? We need to deal with the latency issues. We need to deal with the throughput issues. We need to deal with the fault tolerance issues. This fault tolerant issues also there in self configurations. There we can discuss about the various faults at the device level. So I'll discuss that also here on in this particular network design of IoT. Scalability issues also there, range and number of hops. So these are the different perspective related to the networks. So they are very limited, even more than that can be possible. So I am not covering all, but these are the most important one for research and further developments. So latency, what is a latency issue comes? Let's imagine a scenario where we have deployed a medical of things at two different location in a remote area. Like location one is a village one, village two, and location one is a village one. There so many patients we have kept it in a home quarantine procedures. Okay, and each of the patient will have the IoT devices which he can wear it and record his daily health data at the server. Now consider a situation that the location one network devices, they are all configured with a non IP based devices, and they don't have any connectivity with the internet. And that can be possible only through the gateway, which is at the remote location. So we are doing some multi-hop communications and relaying our data at the gateway. But imagine that the gateway at the location 1 is died in the network itself. Then how you can manage your network? So self adaptability, how you can bring it, how dynamically the nodes can change their scenarios and topologies. So either if you are using wireless devices, you have a multi-hop communication options. You have a different channel hopping. So each IoT device, if it is Wi-Fi, it is operating at 2.4 gigahertz to 2.45. If you subtract 2.5 minus 2 gigahertz, you will get the bandwidth, and within that bandwidth you can do frequency hopping. So there may be 26 different channels. If your requirement is to reduce the latency, you can use individual channel for data transmission up to the gateway, so that latency issue you can minimize. But when your gateway is died in the network itself, then how you can relay your data? So device can itself take certain decisions. I should reserve some frequency at the device side. So these frequencies we will reserve for the critical conditions. When our gateway is not working, we can relay the data multi-hop communication wise to the location 2 devices, and the location 2 device also connected with the gateway, and they also have some reserved channels which location 1 device can use to relay their data in real time. Okay. But at present, if we can talk about latency with present network architecture, or with a cellular communication, 4G also, we have a latency issues. But when 5G can come, then only we can say that the latency issues can be minimized, and we can have the MIMO kind of network, where massive input output devices you can configure with a lower latency. So that comes under the 5G. And if you are talking about medical of things with today's 4G networks, or with present network infrastructure, we have to deal with these latency issues. Okay, so we cannot vision for the global medical of things with the present technological challenges. But in future with 5G or 6th generations, or any upcoming technological advancement, may definitely reduce these delays, and which can help us to make a very smart applications even for medical of things. So if at the present situation, if let's say doctor is at US and he's operating some of the robotic surgery at India, so he is sending some instructions to the robot, and in between that some packet is lost. So there might be a situation that the patient may go in a critical condition if robot cuts a different vein or a different cuts. So these issues are very more common in present scenarios, but it can only be avoided if we can have a better architecture, better infrastructure design, and better network availability. Throughput. So throughput is also another important parameter to analyze the performance of the network. If you have a IoT devices which you have placed it in a one locations, let's say in a one city you have a plan to make a IoT of medical things. Then you have deployed in one particular colony some hundred of devices, and these hundred of devices you have connected with one gateway. Okay, gateway can manage some up to some extent of the device scalability. But if you are trying to expand it, so expand means like 100 devices one gateway can manage, but you have attached 200 more devices with the same network in the same place. Then how you can manage that kind of critical condition? So in that case, your data may lost in the network more frequently. Data collision will occur more, congestion will occur more. How you can deal with such issues? You have to create a different kind of topological structures. So in that topological structure, you have to assign the duties to different node or different duties. Like gateway can only relay the data to the next gateway, or it can send the data directly to the server, or the end IoT devices can also coordinate with the coordinators. So different devices will have a different capabilities. And if one particular location gateway cannot manage 300 devices, then you should have some options through which devices can dynamically take certain decisions. Either they can relay their data to the next location gateway, or they may itself can do computations and send the data over the cloud. So all such issues you can even manage at individual node or at the collective node together. So most prior we are discussing about edge computing because of these issues. Because whenever we go for the scalable system, we are facing the throughput issues. How you can deal with those issues? For that, there are different topological formations you can configure, or you can take certain decisions by deploying the sensors in such certain perimeters, and coverage you can provide it, so that effective data relay can be possible. Okay. Next, the fault tolerance. So this is the most important one, because IoT devices are constrained devices. They are not capable enough to do the self-diagnostic, self-isolations, or self-smartness can achieve. In such constrained devices, we need to have certain requirements that we have to deal. Okay. So whenever you are thinking about smart healthcare system, then device should have capability like self-diagnostic. So device, we can put some test parameters through which it can regularly check the sensors, whether the sensor is producing the right result or not. Okay. Even for communications, it can check whether my communication is proper or not, whether I'm able to send all the data or not. Okay. And if sensor or a IoT device feels itself that I am malicious in the network, then he himself can isolate from the network. Or it can also generate some notification alert messages through which we can identify, okay, the device in the network is faulty, and whatever is generated data is available at the cloud, it's totally wrong. So such kind of analytics, either we can do it at the edge computing or fog computing or the cloud computing. But if we can notify it and we can isolate from the edge node itself, then this is a great achievement. Reconfigurations and recalibration techniques. So either you can do the reconfigurations if a device needs an updated security patch. So you can generate the security patch from the server, which is issued to all the devices. If nowadays you are seeing the mobile phones will have the OS updation request all the time, it comes whenever new OS update comes. So that is happening in mobile communications. But if we can imagine for the IoT device also, this can be possible. Recalibration techniques means we can recalibrate the sensors parameter so that it can fix it some of the issues from the remote location itself. Either you can use OTA. So over to air programming is right now is in most popular one, through which you can remotely change the firmware of your IoT device. Okay. So fault basically classified in two different categories: behavior fault and persistent fault. Behavior fault are two type: hard fault, soft fault. So behavior fault, if we are calling it hard fault, it is because of the interior damage of the hardware sensors, or it may be a manufacturing damage. Okay, or mishandling of the device, or any overuse of device or over computations. These kind of hardware faults may occur. And whenever it occurs, how you can identify? For that, you need to have some test settings or a test parameters through which you can regularly check your device parameters are okay or not. So this is also a big area of research where you can look around how we can test a device in a network with these many different faults. Soft faults are related to the exchange of data, or a software faults, like you are generating some sense data which is under the certain limit. So as per the data sheet, it is given that my sensor reading will go from 0 degree to minus 55 centigrade degree. Okay, that is what the temperature rating. But my sensor is producing 150, minus 150, or sometime it is giving correct, sometime it is giving wrong. So that is all the issue comes at the software side. So for that also you can create test cases which you can apply at a regular interval of time. Persistent fault is basically of three types: permanent, intermediate, and transient. So permanent fault basically persists for the whole lifespan of module. So permanent fault it can be a manufacturing fault. So if device comes faulty itself and we configure the device in the network, then it always gives a faulty results. So we cannot do it anything for such devices. But if our software system is effective and it can identify with certain test cases that device is faulty, then it can also do self isolation. So such smartness we have to bring in the devices. Then intermediate devices. So intermediate faults. So sensor behavior comes in regular interval of time period. Okay. So it is not all the time it is giving faulty results. Sometimes it is giving accurate results. Sometimes it is giving incorrect result. There might be many more reasons for the intermediate faults, either the environmental conditions, or somebody has misplaced the sensors from its actual locations. There can be many more reasons for intermediate faults. So for diagnostic such faults is very difficult in some cases. But if your sensor is in a proper place and there is not much change in the environmental conditions and certain parameters, then you can also even identify by using some test cases. Transient faults, they basically comes for very time interval, and mostly transient fault comes with the synchronous communication perspective. Or sometimes when you are synchronizing with sensors, your controller is sensing some data and it should come in 1 millisecond, but sometime it is giving a lack of time. So such fault may also occur. So this area is also a very promising area for research. Now the next comes the scalability and range and number of hops. So scalability issues comes when you have a requirement to attach more number of device to the informational network. As I have given the one particular example, my gateway can handle 100 devices. But if you are allowing 200 more devices to be attached with the same gateway, then how you can manage your load at the gateway? So gateway can also do uh, load balancing with the help of some other gateway manager. So you can have a gateway managers who can manages the gateway load, or otherwise individually at the device level you can perform some load balancing, or you can do some multi-hop communications to transfer your traffic to the other gateway of other network. So all such scalability issues you can deal it with the under various perspective. Like you can imagine a different type of coverage. Means you can deploy your network architecture in intelligent way so that the scalability issues can be properly addressed. So scalability issues can also have these challenges like interoperability. If we have a different device of different media interfaces, different type of data format, then how you can deal with the scalability issues. Okay, then in topological reconfigurations. So if you have attached 200 more devices where the gateway can only handle 100, then how you can change your topological architecture so that the traffic which comes at the gateway can be redirected to some other lightly loaded devices. Okay, that is also another important challenge which you can address in scalability. Optimal routing. So sometimes your packet looping issues can come. So your packet is revolving in the same network, but it is not going forward into the cloud spaces or a cloud servers. Itself in the network, it is routed in the in improper way. So how you can deal with the packet routing issues, packet looping issues? For that, optimal routing schemes you can implement. Hardware acceptability also comes like non-IP based or IP based devices, how you can manage it in the for scalability purpose. Network bandwidth is also another major concern, because one gateway allowing you 1000 Mbps suppose, and you have shared among the 100 nodes. Okay, but when you have configured 200 more nodes, then your bandwidth is further shared among these many nodes, and with that limited bandwidth you cannot able to send your data for longer distances. Okay, or you cannot send it with a proper throughput with a lower latencies. So performance wise, how you can deal with those issues. So all such comes under the scalability. And one more important things in IoT terms for medical things or either in any different areas, we have to implement the light protocols. So lightweight protocol implementation is must in IoT area, because if we can talk about computer networks, their protocols we cannot directly use in IoT, because IoT is a constrained devices. They don't have that much capabilities. So how we can implement lightly algorithms or a lightweight routing algorithms, lightweight encryption and security algorithms, which can minimize our computational requirements and can reliably send the data over the network. Okay. Then we have a range and number of hops. So range and number of hops is also related to the wireless, where you can have these issues. Okay. Then IoT health architecture, if you can see, we will be having at different layers. At the bottommost layer, you have a sensors where you can attach all the devices. And at local communication layer, you have a personal area network devices. Likewise, at the each layer, you have a different set of protocols and devices, which you can configure in a network. Okay. And four-tier IoT health care system, if you can see whatever we have discussed, at the bottommost layer you have medical sensors. Connectivity side, we have different types of LAN communication devices and different protocols. So these are the few prime protocols used for the IoT communications. So some of them will use the client server architecture, some of them use publisher subscriber model, then some of them use the publisher subscriber with queuing model. Likewise, a RESTful communication APIs, lightweight machine-to-machine communication protocol. So these are the protocol things which you can also look around, which can also help us to deal with the various challenges that we have seen. Like management, also we have different issues, data processing issues, data device management, and how we can take certain controls from the both end. Then at the last, we have a virtualization issues where we can find out the light data analytics algorithm, which can help us to bring some knowledge out of the data. So the important things is basically in IoT for medical of things or even for any IoT smart applications, we need a effective gateway. So gateway should have capabilities like at the bottom most you have some devices, and the gateway should have these much capabilities. So gateway is a better computational device which can have a CPU, GPU, DSP, RAM, and local database also it can maintain. So proper analysis also he can do it. Operating system also it has, like a single board computer chips can also be make as a gateway. And there are so many other devices, and the gateway can also have some communications through which they can send it their data, 3G, 4G, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and there are many more interfaces. So gateway should have these much capabilities, and your lower devices maybe they are constrained devices, they won't have these many capabilities, but gateway should need these many capabilities. Then the another important thing, that is big data analytics. If you are collecting all the data from the different sensors and devices, collectively you are storing at the cloud spaces, then you have to need to analyze these data in effective manner. So for that we have a big data analytics platform. There we are discussing about the network file systems, how we can effectively store our data in the network space instead of in a local centralized space. So you can imagine with the computer system file system, and network file system is for the network devices. So network devices can be a servers, computers, data centers. There you can store your data and effectively you can retrieve your data. So for that, different types of platforms are there through which you can implement your big data analytics platform. Like Hadoop is there, which you can use it for implementing such platforms. Then security is also main concern because it consisting of various aspects. If these constrained devices operates in a network, then we have issues like authentication, authorizations, availability issues. We have to confidentiality issues, data reliability, fault tolerant issues. So how we can deal with all different type of security issues? For that, you can implement different types of encryption algorithms or a lightweight encryption algorithms or some data integrity algorithms through which you can even check your data that is available at the cloud, whether it is maintaining the integrity over a time or not. So all such issues you can also maintain with the IoT security. This is what the work we have carried out during our lockdown period for pandemic patients. Sorry, during the pandemic period for home quarantine patients. So whenever the home quarantine patient comes at the their city or say in the city, when he will be kept in the home quarantine procedure, he doesn't have any kind of equipment through which he can log his daily health data, so that the healthcare provider can provide the services over a time whenever some symptoms will be available at the patient. So for that we have devised one sync node where we are attaching all the devices, wearable devices, and sending this data over the fog server where we are doing some computations and finding out the COVID symptoms. If it is matching with the symptoms, then it is responded back to the patient and the healthcare service provider. So this computation we are doing at the fog because we need to minimize the latency. And the cloud side, even you can do it more computations. For our IoT architecture, we have taken 4 layers: perception layer, aggregation, processing, and cloud platform. And we have used these ECG, BP, air pressure, and temperature sensors. This is what the platform I have built in Django framework of Python. And I have also used the mixed set of protocols. So I have used the publisher subscriber model using third-party broker, Cloud MQTT. So a IoT end device can also send the data to the server. And even I can send the data through the RESTful communication APIs. So this is what the platform where I'm logging the user data related to temperature, ppm, ECG, and inhale air pressures. So based on that, we have formulated our algorithm at the fog node, which computes the COVID symptoms. For this particular platform, I've used the IoT single board computer for BeagleBone Black at the edge node, and the home gateway I've used to relay my network data. And at the Fog server, we have used data analytics Fog server, which is a capable device, can compute it, analyze it, and then perform some notifications. If we have no symptom matching, then we have a cloud server. We are running on DigitalOcean, and we have leased with $300 one small platform where we are hosting our IoT platform. Future,
Sir,
yes,
I have one doubt. Chintan Bhatt here.
yes.
Sir, as a fog server or fog node, which hardware can be used?
Yes.
Because it is, I think, the selection of hardware plays a vital role in this communication.
Correct. Can I complete this? Then later on we can discuss.
Yeah, definitely, sir.
Just only 2 more slides. So within 5 minutes I'll wind up.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So future research directions. At present, I am working on this digital contact tracing also, and the global research is focusing on this only. There we have Android smartphone devices with inbuilt Bluetooth device through which you can even trace the contact of the person. If a person comes to one person, then his Bluetooth can communicate with the other Bluetooth. So with the Bluetooth virtual ID we will provide, and we can let's say for a 5-day, after a 5-day this particular person has a COVID positive, then how we can track his contact during the 5 days, how many people he visited. So based on the mobile data of communication through Bluetooth, we can identify. Like Arogya app is doing manual, but we are not doing it manual. We have one app through which we can track the patient details, and that will be controlled by the government. So this project is under research phase, and I'm doing with one Kolkata University professor, and one more, two more people are there involved in this. One from California and one from Israel. So this is one research group because they have shown their interest, because my area of research in wireless, and I basically worked in localization area. So they asked me to implement this uh, only communication perspective. Later background they will implement. So this is also one research direction where you can also work out. And Bluetooth is only the device which we are using for identifying the contact tracing. And also you can use it a Google Science Journal app, so that you can use it other inbuilt Android sensors data for your research. And this app is giving you very good benefits. You can upload the sense data from the mobile device and use it for your research purpose, because it can be shareable on the Google Drive. So all data you can capture, and later on you can use it for your research purpose. So with this, I am ending my today's session. Now I am open for discussion. Thank you. Okay, now may I know what your question?
Yeah, actually, sir, wanted to know regarding the choice of hardware as a fog node.
Fog node, if you are implementing some analysis over that, you should choose a single board computer chip. Nowadays, very capable devices are available. In BeagleBone Black itself, we have a AI board. So BeagleBone AI is doing the machine learning algorithms. You can run it on those boards because they have a good computations and storage spaces also. But if you are doing a lightweight computations, then you have a BeagleBone Black options. In Raspberry Pi also you have various options.
Okay.
And there is not limitation of devices. There are many more devices. Asus also introduced one capable device. You can also look around that.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, sir.
Munish sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, kindly stop sharing your presentation so that you will
Oh,
get.
it is still okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Sir.
And now over to Sanjay sir. Kindly pass the questions, if any questions from the audience side, in the chat box. Over to Sanjay sir.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Munes, for your well informative sessions and nicely presenting your work, especially in the COVID-19 scenario. So, if
Thank you,
anyone having
sir.
any question, please write in the chat box.
Yeah.
We'll take two shared questions due to time limitation. One question is asked by Dr. Deepali, that in latency you said we can go with multi-hopping. Then how
Yes.
security will be taken care?
For latency issues, if you are dealing, then you have a separate channel. Like for wireless devices, we have a frequency hopping. We can reserve the 23 channels are there with Wi-Fi device. Each channel you can use it for your private communications, so that channel cannot be used by other. And also you can implement some lightweight encryption algorithm at the device level itself, so that you can transfer your data without any intruder attacks.
Okay. Another question by Dr. Priya, that how self configuration of nodes is related to privacy.
Yeah, that is
How
also a big
self-configuration?
concern,
Yes.
because if third party is maintaining your entire IoT network devices, then he may be responsible for that. Somebody has to take the responsibility for privacy issues. Even in our digital contact tracing, we are thinking of not sending the Bluetooth ID. We should send some virtual ID. So likewise, if we are doing some self configurations, we need not to send the MAC address of the mobile phone or any device. We should configure it through some API key or some virtual IDs. That only can help us.
Okay. Next question is that by Dr. Bhoi, that is there any specific medical sensor is there for analyzing COVID data?
At present, it is not
I
there.
think no. I think no. Yes.
Yeah, it is not there. But many people are working towards that. And analysis also is quite a difficult, because daily, if you see, within a week we are seeing a new symptom related to COVID. How we can track it with the minimal number of sensors? That is a big challenge. So no such device available at present, in my
Okay,
opinion.
okay, last question we'll take from Dr. Lokesh. Is
Mhm.
there any website or reference
Mhm.
from where we can get information about IoT devices?
Yeah, there are so many platforms you can look around. Many industries also are working towards IoT. So you can look at their website. Mostly I refer the MIT Media Lab. There they work very innovative ideas they implement with some set of hardwares. So MIT Media Lab, you can refer it. That is good place.